I'm really happy to be asked to share my story, especially to be able to express my gratitude to the care team and everyone who has supported me. I hope my story can offer hope to others, no matter how big or small the challenge you might be facing. So I'll share a little bit about my accident. At the end of April, we were leaving a benefit for some dear friends of mine, and we were taking a familiar path home when myself and 2 others were ejected from the boat that we were riding on. Luckily, my friends were okay, but unfortunately I wasn't so lucky. The propeller hit the lower half of my body. Initially, I didn't really understand how severe my injuries were, but I remember just this feeling of peace over me the whole time, which is kind of strange in that situation. I remember at one point asking one of the EMTs who saved me if I was going to die. Later I found out most people thought that was the case. When I realized that I was going to survive, my initial reaction was to be there and comfort my family. I woke up in the hospital with tubes coming out all over my body. I couldn't talk or eat, so I was writing on a whiteboard. When I found out I'd be losing my leg, I saw how distraught my family was, sharing me that news. And later found out that my reaction was to share the rock on symbol, which was the birth of Coal Rocks. That's the kind of the page that my family started to share the news with everybody. I was in the hospital for about 2 months, and I received an unbelievable amount of blood to replace what I had lost from my injury. I heard rumors, and I don't know, maybe Dr. Lewis can confirm this, but that the blood bank actually stayed all night to help me get the blood that I needed. So I'm really grateful for them. Of course, not being able to walk once I found I didn't have my leg was the most challenging thing that I had to overcome, but I had a lot of infections and surgeries, so I was really weak in the hospital. The wounds and the pain made it hard to just roll over, let alone getting in and out of a wheelchair. It took a lot of time for everything to set in, but in the process of me surviving, God told me He would be with me, so I remind myself of that every day. Although I had this reminder, I really still had to choose to focus on being brave and looking at the good that I have in my life. One of the nurses actually told me, I think it was a military saying, but you should focus on what you have and not what you don't have. That was one of the biggest things that helped me. I actually would make a list on days that I was having a rough day of all of the good things in my life, because I think that was, one of the key contributions to me recovering. The nurses, doctors, CNAs, housekeepers, everybody in the hospital was really just there for me, and that was really great. Volunteers, other amputees reached out to me and shared their stories. I cannot be more thankful for everyone who's been in my corner. Every time I have a bad day and I get sucked into the sulk, is what I call it, I remember the people who came together for me. Today things are a little bit harder, but I was recently fit for a new prosthetic. I named her Peggy just as a humorous tribute to the traditional peg leg. So we try to find the humor in everything. I'm still very much learning how to walk again, but I'm also very determined. I definitely don't take any day for granted anymore. I know that not everyone going through this starts with the support system I had, but being in the hospital and seeing how much the care team and strangers even have helped me, I want to promise everyone that there is a huge support system waiting for you in this community. If you don't feel that, I encourage you to find it. Talk to a nurse, talk to a social worker, and they will send someone, maybe me, one day, to be there with you through this journey. I'm happy to be here today and share my story and give hope to others. That certainly would not be possible without my surgeons, doctors, nurses, CNAs, and everyone who's helped me in so many ways. So I just want to end by giving a very special thank you to the Lee Health team at Gulf Coast Medical Center, and for the medical care, but also for healing my mind in many ways. It's because you do not go to work and just to do your job and go home, but you actually put your heart into the lives of your patients, that I can look back on the toughest time of my life and find great joy and friendship and kindness. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
I was on call when Nichole came in that night, and when we first saw Nichole, It was, one of those moments that you're like, oh my God, she's alive. People that have the injuries that Nichole had don't make it to the hospital. So I think that is the first amazing thing that happened within the community, is that the quick acting of Jordan, taking her right to the boat dock and getting her to the hospital as quickly as possible through our emergency medical services, and then getting you here to us where we could quickly have the team, and that's really what it is. I'm part of that team. I'm not the whole team, but it's really an exceptional team to be part of. And I think that when we have patients that are so critically ill, we can turn the story around and make a very happy ending, and we get to see that. And basically seeing the injuries, and I have seen people with certain types of injuries that are similar, and a lot of times the type of surgery that's required, it's not on a trauma patient, it's on a cancer patient that has a very aggressive tumor in their pelvis that would require them to have half of their pelvis and their leg removed. It's an incredibly morbid surgery, and those patients oftentimes don't do well. And she had that surgery, and she's done exceptionally well. We're currently in the process of writing her story up for publication for a scholarly journal. There's actually no known incidents of having a traumatic hemipelvectomy from a boat, so you get to be the first one. There's actually no reported survivors from something of this nature. The incidence is so low that we know that these patients generally die in the field before they reach the hospital. And she was able to make it to us, and then we were able to take her to the operating room, control the bleeding, stabilize her in the ICU after that, and then do several more aggressive surgeries. And none of that could be possible without the team. And it's really goes to attest to the skill level of not only the surgeons, but the nurses, our physician assistants and nurse practitioners that are on our trauma team, the blood bank staff, which, as Nichole said, they stayed late. People that were on the day shift stayed through the night to make sure that we had enough blood products to resuscitate Nichole. And she got to experience the full gamut of what Lee Health can offer a trauma patient. Literally every ancillary service you got to really be a part of, which I think is incredible, and it goes to a testament to Lee Health and the commitment to the community that we are here and we do provide exceptional care. And I'm so glad that I've been able to be part of being with Nichole through her journey. She's a really, truly, and special human. I don't think there's anything that I can say that, like, most people, like, if I went through this experience myself, I would not be a radiant being. And I think that has so much, your parents put so much into you, and I can tell that you're just full of love. And I think that's part of, going through an experience like this and then coming out on the other side and helping people. And I think that's truly incredible.
Thank you.